Welcome to East Wake High School, home of the Warriors. I'm Stacy Austin, principal. Wake County Public Schools require each school to provide information on specific policies to employees within the Wake County Public School Employee Handbook. It is each employee's responsibility to read, be familiar, and understand all policies in this handbook. The information that I will share is only a highlight of the important information within these specific policies. If you would like to download a copy of the 2020-2021 Employee Handbook to review the policies in full, you can do so by visiting Wake Connect, go to the Employee Portal, click Employee Relations. There you will find the handbook. Thank you and have a great day. In this section, I will be discussing the Wake County Public Schools Code of Ethics Policy. All school system employees hold positions of public trust. We're responsible for the education of students, also serve as examples and role models for students. Each employee is responsible for the integrity and consequences of his or her own actions. Each employee must exhibit the highest standards of honesty, integrity, and fairness when engaging in any activity concerning the school system. Employee conduct should be such as it protects your personal integrity and reputation as well as that of the school system. Employees should not engage in outside employment that prevents them from satisfactorily fulfilling their official job duties. You will not use any school system assets, including cash funds, materials, supplies, equipment, or vehicles, for any unlawful or improper purpose, which includes personal use. All testing personnel, teachers, and administrators shall be familiar with the Testing Code of Ethics regarding the statewide testing programs and shall adhere to it in all aspects of the testing program. Any employee that violates the Testing Code of Ethics is subject to disciplinary action. No employee shall recruit a student to transfer to or attend another school for athletic purposes. Recruiting includes any communication or means that suggests that a student should transfer to or attend another school to participate in athletics. Staff members who violate this policy will be subject to disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment. It is not practical or possible to review all situations that might fall under the guidelines of this policy. It is your responsibility to be familiar with each rule and procedure associated with this policy. For more information, please visit page 18 of the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook. In this section, I will be discussing the district's technology responsible use policy. The use of technology resources, including the access to the internet, is a privilege, not a right. Individual users of the school system's technology resources are responsible for their own behavior and communications when using technology. Users are expected to abide by the accepted rules of the network etiquette. Anyone who uses the school system's computers, electronic devices, the school network, and the internet must comply with rules for responsible use listed in the Employee Handbook. These rules are intended to clarify expectations for conduct, but should not be misconstrued as all-inclusive. Before using the internet, all students must be trained about appropriate online behavior. Employees must not disclose on the school system webpage, website, email, or anywhere else on the internet any personally identifiable, private, or confidential information concerning students, including names, addresses, or pictures, without written permission from a parent or a guardian. You should visit the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook for specific policies and expectations related to technology on page 21. The Wake County Board of Education acknowledges the dignity and worth of all students and employees and strives to create a safe, orderly, caring, and inviting school environment to facilitate student learning and achievement. The board prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, disability, or age, and will provide equal access to the designated youth groups as required by law. Any form of unlawful discrimination, harassment, or bullying in any educational or employment activity or programs is against board policy. Employees are required to report any actual or suspected violations of this policy. Students, parents, volunteers, visitors, or others are also strongly encouraged to report any actual or suspected incidents of discrimination, harassment, or bullying. For more information about this policy, employees should visit page 26 of the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook. All complaints of unlawful discrimination, harassment, and bullying are taken seriously. Wake County Public Schools has a formal process for individuals who believe they may have been discriminated against, bullied, or harassed. Individuals who have witnessed or have reliable information that another person has been subject to unlawful discrimination, harassment, or bullying should report these violations in a manner provided within this policy. Reports may be made anonymously. The discrimination, harassment, and bullying complaint process can be found on page 30 in the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook. In an effort to promote safe schools, good character, a safe working environment, and to reduce the opportunity for disruptions of school-related activities, the following conduct shall be prohibited at all times on school grounds and at school-related events: profane, obscene conduct, and offensive language. Conduct that creates substantial disruption to the school activity, the operations of the school, or the rights of students. Rude noise and conduct, disorderly or assaultive conduct, threatening the health or safety of others. Any other conduct that violates any applicable laws or policy of the board. Any individual who engages in such conduct is subject to immediate expulsion from the property or from the school-related activity. More information about the conduct on school property can be found on page 35 of the Wake County Public Schools Handbook. This section is about the conduct of employees towards students. All Wake County Public School staff, student teachers, or contractors hired to perform instructional or professional services are prohibited from dating, courting, or entering into a romantic or sexual relationship with any student enrolled in the Wake County Public School System, regardless of the student's age. Any employee who has reason to believe that another employee is inappropriately involved with a student, as previously described, shall report this information to the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. The entire policy about employees' conduct towards students is located on page 36 of the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook. Safe schools are critical to creating a successful learning environment. Staff and students share the responsibility for following established safety measures to create and maintain safe schools. Students must be supervised while in the care and custody of the school system. Any employee who observes hazards must notify the principal immediately. It is the philosophy of the board to use de-escalation and other non-physical means in addressing school safety concerns. When force is necessary, it should be limited to the amount needed to prevent harm to self and others. School personnel may use physical restraints only in accordance with board policy on the use of restraints and seclusion. All school system employees have the duty to be alert to situations that may pose a threat to the safety of students, employees, or visitors on school property, at school events, or situations in which students are under the authority of school employees. All employees are to make an immediate report to an administrator if the employee observes or has suspect that a situation poses threat to the safety of others. When employees with responsibility of supervising students have personal knowledge or actual notice of a student altercation or Other situations that pose an immediate threat to safety, they shall use their personal and professional judgment to determine the best way to address the situation to protect the safety of everyone in the vicinity. If the employee can do so safely, they should intervene directly to end the fight or address the safety threat. An employee who encounters a situation that cannot be managed safely and effectively shall request assistance from other employees or an administrative staff and shall take steps to remove bystanders from the area. Only to the degree of force necessary and physical control reasonably necessary should be used to reestablish a safe environment. For more information about school safety, please refer to page 37 of the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook. Wake County Public Schools Board of Education prohibits the use of corporal punishment. No principal, assistant principal, teacher, substitute teacher, any other school employee or volunteer may use corporal punishment to discipline any student. Corporal punishment is an intentional infliction of physical pain upon the body of a student as a disciplinary measure. It includes, but is not limited to, spanking, paddling, or slapping. Read the entire policy on corporal punishment by visiting page 38 in the Wake County Public Schools Handbook. Wake County Public Schools is a drug-free workplace, which is defined by any property owned by the board at any time during which an individual employee is acting within the scope and course of his or her employment with the board, or any other time that the employee's violation of this policy has a direct and adverse effect upon the performance of his or her job. Employees are not allowed to manufacture, transmit, conspire to transmit, possess, use, or be under the influence of any alcohol, other intoxicating beverage, or drug, including prescription medication. In addition, no employee shall exclude the odor of any alcoholic beverage or controlled substance while acting within the course and scope of his or her employment. Any employee having reasonable grounds to believe that another employee is using or is in possession of any illegal drug or is under influence or in possession of alcohol while in the workplace shall immediately report the facts and circumstances to the principal. Any employee who has been convicted of violation of criminal drug statutes for activities occurring in the workplace shall notify his or her supervisor within 5 days of such conviction. The drug-free workplace policy can be found on page 39 in the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook. The Board of Education believes employees and students of the Wake County Public School System have the right to work and study in a tobacco-free environment. The Board recognizes that it has the obligation to promote a healthy learning and working environment free from unwanted smoke for students, employees, and visitors of the school system. Accordingly, the Board has adopted this policy, which prohibits the use or display of any tobacco product by any person on campus and in or on any other school property owned, operated, or contracted by the school system. For the purpose of this policy, tobacco products is defined as including cigarettes, e-cigarettes, cigars, pipes, chewing tobacco, snuff, and any other items containing or reasonably resembling tobacco or tobacco products. The tobacco-free environment policy can be found on page 41 of the Wake County Employee Handbook. Wake County Board of Education policy states that all schools and places of employment within the Wake County Public School System shall be free of all unauthorized weapons. No one shall carry or encourage any other person to carry, openly or concealed, unauthorized weapons, which includes but is not limited to firearms and knives. Wake County Public School property is defined as any public or private school building, bus, public or private school campus, grounds, recreational area, athletic field, or other properties owned, used, or operated by the Wake County Board of Education. The details of the weapon prohibited on school property policy is found on page 41 of the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook. Criminal charges and records against an applicant or employee will be considered in employment decisions. Consequently, applicants and current employees shall notify the principal and the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources immediately if they are charged with or convicted of a criminal offense, including entering into a plea of guilty, except for minor traffic violations. All employees who supervise volunteers in the workplace are responsible for the proper registration of all volunteers through the Wake County Volunteer Registration System, which includes a criminal background check. It is the policy of the board in serious matters relating to the safety and welfare of children and employees that certain actions and information is reported to external agencies as required by law and regulation. All school employees, including substitute teachers, student teachers, and volunteers, must immediately report any action of violence or inappropriate use of seclusion or restraint in school, on school property, or at a school-sponsored event to the principal. The board is concerned with the health, safety, and welfare of all children and recognizes the legal and ethical obligation that all employees, contractors, and volunteers have to report known or suspected maltreatment of children. North Carolina has two separate systems that mandate reports to state authorities of suspected child abuse, neglect, dependency, and maltreatment. The reporting requirements for these different policies can be found on page 42, 43, and 44 of the Wake County Employee Handbook. Timesheets are provided for non-exempt employees who are paid on an hourly basis and for non-exempt employees who are employed less than 50%. Timesheets are available online at Wake Connect. Timesheets should be completed on a daily basis. In accordance with the Fair Labor Standards Act, employees are required to report on their timesheets the actual and exact hour and minute that work starts and ends at any point during the workday. Reporting time not actually worked on the timesheet is considered fraud and theft. A principal shall set the workday for instructional assistants not to exceed 40 hours per week. Instructional assistants shall strictly follow their work hours set by the principal. The workday will begin at least 30 minutes prior to the instructional day for students. The 40-hour work week includes time spent attending school or school personnel functions, which the employee requests to be attended by their principal or supervisor. More information about the requirement of timesheets can be found on page 49 of the Employee Handbook. The board recognizes the vital importance of having a low absence rate among school personnel in order to provide consistent services and instruction to students. Regular attendance is a duty of employment and is a central function of the job for all school system employees. All employees are expected to comply with all applicable absence procedures, including the reporting of the absences. Any leave taken beyond the amount in which the employee is entitled under state and federal laws and regulations will be considered when annually assessing the employee's job performance. More information about the employee absences can be found on page 50 of the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook. A teacher's responsibilities include professional responsibilities, instructional duties, non-instructional duties, and extracurricular duties. Well-prepared lessons help to ensure superior delivery of the state standards and guide teaching and learning. Each teacher shall prepare daily lesson plans based on the current statewide instructional standards, curriculum, and unit guides based on the school system. Teachers should also use their knowledge of the students' needs to inform instructional planning. Research-based aspects of planning should also be considered, included in assessments of student learning to inform future planning needs. Upon request, teachers should provide the principal with daily lesson plans. Teachers are required to have at least 1 week of emergency lesson plans available at all times. In addition, before taking planned leave, teachers should provide sufficient substitute lesson plans that will allow for the delivery of the continued effective instruction. In order to protect student safety, provide proper supervision, and meet the needs of students and the school, a teacher's minimum workday shall begin at least 30 minutes before the student's instructional day begins. Teachers are expected to remain on campus until their professional duties and responsibilities for the students and the school have been completed for that day. For more information on the lesson planning policy, please visit page 54 in the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook. The Wake County Public School Board of Education is committed to maintaining and strengthening its most important resource, you, its employees. It is to accomplish this, the board has made available Dear Oaks Employee Assistance Program to provide confidential short-term counseling and referral services for eligible employees and their immediate family members. For more information about the confidential program, please see the internet homepage. Click on Employee Assistance link in the Resources section. The web page for Dear Oaks is www.dearoaks.com. Employees may also call Dear Oaks Employee Assistance Program 24 hours a day at 1-866-327-2400 or visit page 75 in the Employee Handbook. An employee must use appropriate leave type when absent from work unless all leave is exhausted, which will become non-paid leave. The school system's practice is not to advance leave to employees. All employees must submit an appropriate paperwork for use of any leave benefits immediately following the absence, but no later than 3 days. In addition to the normal leave procedures outlined, employees may have additional leave options available due to COVID-19. For 10-month and 11-month employees, the first 10 days of annual leave vacation is scheduled in the school's calendar and is taken as scheduled. In response to COVID-19, the State of North Carolina Board of Education and other government agencies have issued guidance and policies that modify normal leave procedures. A summary of these modifications to the normal leave procedures are available on Wake Connect. Use of annual leave vacation is to be used in 1/2 or whole day units. An employee who is absent less than 1/2 a day shall be charged a half day of leave. If an absence is more than 1/2 a day but less than the full day, 1 day of full leave shall be charged. Requests for annual leave are to be submitted to the immediate supervisor and approved prior to the vacation. Instructional personnel who requires a substitute, including instructional assistants, may not take annual vacation leave at any time that students are scheduled to be in attendance. Employees may elect to use annual leave vacation for absences due to adverse weather conditions only on days when students are not required to attend due to school closures. Any employee who has neither earned nor will earn significant annual leave to cover any scheduled vacation days in the school calendar will be placed on leave without pay. Teachers may be required to forfeit annual vacation leave to attend required teacher workdays. All permanent full-time employees working or on paid leave for half or more in the workday in any monthly pay period will earn one sick leave per day for the month, or the number of hours worked daily for full-time exempt employees of a maximum of 8 hours. Sick leave must be used in half or whole day units. An employee who is absent less than a half a day will be charged half a day of leave. If an employee is absent for more than a half a day but less than a full day, 1 full day of leave will be charged. Sick leave may be accumulated indefinitely. Illness in the immediate family, related medical appointments, or death that necessitates the employee's attendance shall take sick leave. Immediate family is defined for the use of sick leave includes the employee's spouse, children, siblings, grandparents, grandchildren, or dependents living in the employee's household. Step, half, and in-law relationships are also included. The length of leave granted for illness or death in the immediate family is normally from 3 to 5 days. However, individual circumstances may dictate shorter or longer leave for this purpose. It is the responsibility of the employee to communicate with his or her supervisor regarding the length and leave. Whenever possible, employees should give 30-day advance notice of plans to take sick leave for elective medical or surgical procedures, or for childbirth or adoption. A statement from a medical doctor or other acceptable proof that the employee was unable to work due to personal illness, medical appointment, illness, or death in the family or adoption for absences more than 3 days duration must be supported by a physician's statement or other acceptable proof that the employee was unable to work due to personal illness, medical appointment, illness, or death in the immediate family. Any sick leave request submitted in advance will require medical documentation. An employee should submit a request for leave form immediately upon returning to work, but should be submitted within 3 days of returning from the absence. Sick leave may not be used while on leave without pay, or on a holiday, or for annual vacation leave days scheduled in the school calendar. Sick leave may not be used on inclement weather days in lieu of vacation. Extended sick leave is available to classroom teachers and media specialists only that require substitutes, and if they are absent due to their own personal injury or injury of excess of their accumulated sick leave, and is available at vacation leave. Extended sick leave must be requested as it is not extended automatically, and the request must be accompanied by a physician's statement verifying the medical necessity. Unlike sick leave, extended leave cannot be used to attend your child's or spouse's illness, etc., nor can it be used during a leave of adoption. Accumulated sick leave must be exhausted before extended leave is granted. Employees on extended sick leave receive full salary less the required substitute deduction. The deduction is mandatory regardless of whether a substitute is employed. The standard deduction of $50 per day. The purpose of voluntary shared leave is to provide economic relief for employees who are likely to suffer financial hardship because of a prolonged absence or frequent short-term absences caused by a serious medical condition. Only permanent employees who have exhausted all available accumulated leave, which includes sick, annual, vacation, and bonus leave, are eligible to receive donated leave from employees from the same LEA, a different LEA, a community college, or a state agency. An employee who faces prolonged or frequent absences from work due to the employee's serious medical condition or that of an immediate family member may apply to human resources for voluntary share donated leave. Employees should not solicit, coerce, give, or receive compensation for voluntary shared leave days. After completing the application, an employee may send a written request to the immediate supervisor or the principal asking that the employees at the worksite be notified of the application for donated leave. A public school employee shall not donate more than 5 days of sick leave per school year to anyone non-family member. A donor may not reduce his or her sick leave balance below 1/2 of what he or she earns in a year. The Family and Medical Leave Act of 1993 allows eligible employees to take 12 weeks of unpaid work-protected leave for their own serious medical conditions or that of their immediate family member. In addition, the FMLA allows eligible employees to take the same job-protected leave for the birth of a child or the placement of a child with an employee through an adoption or foster care. Employers must maintain any employer-paid health benefits while the employee is on FMLA job-protected leave. FMLA runs concurrently with the employer's paid leave and may be applied retroactively. Eligibility for FMLA leave to the eligible FMLA benefits and individuals must be employed by Wake County Public Schools for at least 12 months and work at least 1,250 hours during the 12-month period immediately preceding the commencement of FMLA leave. For more information and details about FMLA, please contact Human Services Employee Relations. There are 2 types of community responsibility leave: community function attendance and the Wake County volunteer activities. The community function attendance, upon approval of the supervisor, full-time and part-time public school employees may be granted community responsibility leave to represent the school or administrative unit at community functions such as a funeral of a school child or his parent. Employee absences for these reasons shall retain full salary during the day of absence. The Wake County volunteer activities, a full-time employee with prior approval from their supervisor may also be granted a maximum of 2 days of community responsibility leave per school year for the purpose of volunteering charitable services at events occurring in Wake County, hosted by organizations designated by 501c3 agencies. Instructional personnel that require a substitute may only use this type of leave of community responsible leave on days upon which annual vacation leave can be used, such as teacher work days. This leave cannot be used to play in charity or fundraising events such as golf tournaments. Although if a person is volunteering to support such an event, such as registering other people to play, the leave may be approved. Full-time or part-time employees retain full salary when absent from work to serve on a jury. Employees are entitled to their regular compensation plus any fees received for jury duty. If court attendance is for school business, the employee receives full salary. If court attendance is for civic responsibility for which the employee is disinterested third party, such as an eyewitness to a crime and or is compelled to be there by one subpoena, the employee receives full salary. If court attendance is for personal reasons for which the employee has a personal stake in the outcome, then the employee will not receive full salary even if subpoenaed. An employee may take appropriate earned leave or leave without pay. Only full-time and part-time permanent employees are eligible for educational leave, which can be used for workshops, staff development, department meetings, or extended leave. These are not considered to be professional leave. Educational leave may not extend past 1 year in duration except for the participation in the Principal Fellows Program, which can be extended for 2 years. Application for educational leave must be approved by the immediate supervisor and submitted to Human Resources prior to May 15th of the school year preceding the proposed leave. If you are considering educational leave, you should see me to meet and discuss it. Only full-time and part-time permanent employees are eligible for professional leave, which is limited to meetings and duties as prescribed in this policy. Professional leave should not be used for attendance at workshops or trainings not approved by the principal in advance. Such absences must be approved by the principal and will be allowed for a period not exceeding 3 consecutive days for in-state meetings and 5 consecutive days for out-of-state meetings. Absences for this purpose may not exceed 10 days for the school year. Military leave with pay is granted to members of reserve components of the U.S. Armed Forces for certain periods of active duty training and for state military duty. Leave with pay is extended to full and part-time permanent employees, normally not to exceed 15 days each federal fiscal year, for annual training and military training. Contact an appropriate Human Resources Administrator for more information. Any employee who is a parent, guardian, or person in loco parentis may take up to 4 hours per fiscal year to attend or otherwise be involved in his or her child's school. There is no requirement that the employer pays the employee while they take this leave. Wake County Public School employees may use available accrued leave in lieu of non-paid parental involvement leave. Employees wishing to take parental involvement leave must provide a written request at least 48 hours in advance. The employee may be required to furnish written verification from the child's school of his or her participation in the school function or other involvement at the school. Personal leave is earned by classroom teachers and media specialists only who require substitutes. In order to be eligible, the employee must be a permanent full-time or part-time position. It is earned at the rate of 0.2 days for each full month of employment, not to exceed 2 days per year. Personal leave may be used only upon authorization of the immediate supervisor, only in 1/2 or whole day units. Personal leave may be used on any instructional day or work day except for the first day teachers are required to report for the school year, required teacher work days, days scheduled for state testing, or on the last day, working day before or the next working day after a holiday, annual leave vacation day scheduled in the calendar unless approved by the principal. A teacher who requests personal leave for a day not subject to the above restrictions at least 5 days in advance must be automatically granted his or her request, subject to the availability of a substitute teacher, and cannot be required to provide a reason for the request. Teachers using personal leave receive full salary less the required substitution deduction of $50 per day, unless the personal leave is approved for a teacher work day. If a substitute teacher is unavailable to fill the position for the day, the salary reduction shall be refunded to the teacher. All employees are encouraged to review the Wake County Public Schools Employee Handbook starting on page 77 about all the leave types and absences within these policies.